Hi. Welcome to another episode of Reports from Out Dear Space, the weekly essay series where I am writing in order to keep myself sharp, creative, and generally become a better writer. This week I am coming at you with an essay about Batman Year One, written by the great Frank Miller of comic fame. I had never read Batman Year One, and my friend gifted this to me, so it was a real treat, and I had a lot of thoughts about it, so you're about to hear them. As always, very much looking forward to everyone's thoughts on this. If you have any comments at all, please let me know. I'd love to see them. And if you would prefer the essay to be written, then you can see the link to my Substack in the description below. Thank you. Batman Year One and Fighting Corruption. My buddy Zoe and I have a habit of going on long walks around the city together. Lately, we've ended up on walks across the Brooklyn Bridge. We always start on the Brooklyn side of the bridge and walk towards Manhattan, watching as the skyline reveals itself. The last 2 times we've walked it, the city has been gloomy and fogged over. Any building above 60 feet was shrouded in a blanket of mist. Every time we point to where you can only see the bottom half of the Empire State Building and say, oh my god, it's just like Gotham. I fucking love Batman. To any of you who know me, you'll know it was just a matter of time before Batman came up. The Robins are my favorite superheroes, and the complex relationship between them and Batman is one of the most interesting fictional relationships, in my opinion. But today isn't about them. Today we'll focus on just Bruce Wayne. I don't love the darker and more popular depictions of Batman. My favorite Batman is the one that fosters orphan Robins and Batgirls in a crime-fighting family. The hero who protects sex workers and addicts against the crooked systems that are profiting off of them. The Batman who understands the nuances of crimes due to mental illness and the actual intentions behind desperation. The popular depictions of Batman for the last several decades have skewed too machismo for my taste. They have focused more on the scale of destruction that Gotham's many eccentric villains can enact. There's much more emphasis on the gadgets and the darkness and the cars. Oh my god, the new iterations are just obsessed with the Batmobile. Take it like this. I watched the animated Justice League series long before I watched Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. Also pertinent, my favorite Batman movie is the 2017 Lego Batman. So, keep that energy in mind. Zoe gifted me Batman Year One over the holidays, so we're gonna start there. Batman Year One is a trio of beginnings. Originally published as Batman 404 through 407 in 1986 to 1987, it has become a standard origin story for our beloved Dark Knight. The comic covers the first year that Bruce Wayne becomes Batman, the first year that James Gordon moves to Gotham as Lieutenant Detective, and the first year that Selina Kyle becomes Catwoman. Big year. Big story. Going into the comic, I was surprised at how anti-cop the whole story turned out to be, or at least anti-corruption. In the first page of the comic, it is established that James Gordon and Bruce Wayne are the 2 main characters, and that this story will revolve around their contrasting perspectives and their need to meet in the middle. Gordon is starting at the very bottom. He's already been discharged by Chicago PD for reporting another cop for excessive violence. Gordon is trying to be the good cop, trying to be the noble detective who holds his coworkers responsible. Wayne is coming into crime fighting from the opposite angle. He has been away from Gotham for years and is just now coming back. He has the privilege of seeing everything from a distance and is holding himself to task for it, thinking he needs to atone by getting into the dirt and experiencing the real Gotham. As early as page 4 in the comic, there's already some tension over Gordon joining Gotham's police force. He goes to meet Police Commissioner Loeb, who is the most corrupt-looking villain pig man put to ink. Everyone is almost talking in work code, complimenting each other, and swearing to work as a team. Gordon has a history of reporting his previous coworkers for misconduct, which does not fly well in Gotham, where all cops are corrupt and being bought out. Loeb makes a threat to Gordon here. Play nice and keep your bad stuff swept under the rug. Also, Loeb has so many fun things in his office. He has a Snoopy lamp and a clown poster, a bunch of tchotchkes, and he's always wearing a colorful suit. He might be a super corrupt and evil police commissioner, but damn if the man doesn't have a hobby. Later on in the comic, we encounter an interesting panel that shows off another way that Gordon and Wayne are contrasted: their relationship to women. Gordon is slowly falling in love or lust with a fellow detective as they spend late nights together. The problem is he has a pregnant wife at home. Hey man, that's pretty bad. Bruce, on the other hand, is using his Playboy billionaire status to cover up his injuries for an earlier Batman mission gone wrong. When Concierge asks him why he won't speak to the police, he mentions that it has something to do with a woman, and the staff completely assists in covering up for him. These panels following each other is no coincidence. They highlight how men are able to hide workplace blunders through affairs. Both highlight sexist societies and points of views. The women are without agency of their own and are used as convenient excuses for the plot, more of a hindrance to the man than actual characters that the men are interacting with. Selina is the only female character in the comic that's given her own agency. It radiates from her character at basically every turn. While Bruce and Gordon are the main focuses and foils for each other's character growth, Selina is a more clearly nuanced version of both of their ideals. In this iteration, Selina is a dominatrix working in the most dangerous part of the city. She has a surrogate younger sister, Holly, that she will do anything for. When Selina hears stories of the Batman, it gives her the idea to buy a cat suit and begin her own capers. Only rather than fighting crime, she is stealing from the rich in order to afford a better life for her, Holly, and the cats. Selina's goals are not as humility-driven as Bruce or Gordon's, but she also does not have the societal structures to fall back on. Bruce is a millionaire playboy. He is the millionaire playboy. He can fall back on his riches. Gordon is a very well-respected member of society who the public loves, so he can't be openly targeted because the public would be aware of it immediately. Selina, on the other hand, is a dominatrix working in the most dangerous part of the city. No one is looking out for her, and there is nothing for her to fall back on. Year One steers away from the classic Batman villains in order to focus on a very grounded and realistic Gotham. Rather than the Joker, we have a schizophrenic escapee from Arkham who holds children at gunpoint. We have pimps who pull knives over perceived slights. Most of all, we have cops who shoot first and ask no questions. Notably, when Bruce is undercover, he gets shot by cops and almost bleeds out because they refuse to get him medical treatment. Year One is a comic that flawlessly pulls off the nuance of Batman. It's a portrayal of a grim, realistic Gotham that is refreshingly contemporary, and it feels like it set the groundwork for much of the politics and perspectives that current-day Batman adaptations have. Maybe it was the beginning of Batman being seen as a much darker hero, dark and realistic. Mazzucchelli comments on this in his artist notes at the end of the comic. Frank Miller, the writer of Batman Year One, wrote The Dark Knight in a fortissimo, operatic mode. But he recognized that my strengths as an artist were more attuned to the mundane. So with Year One, we sought to craft a credible Batman, grounded in a world that we recognize. But did we go too far? Once a depiction veers towards realism, each new detail releases a torrent of questions that exposes the absurdity at the heart of the genre. The more realistic superheroes become, the less believable they are. It's a delicate balance. This much I know, superheroes are real when they are drawn in ink. I think this is a very apt description of the portrayals of fictional characters and the delicate line in the suspension of disbelief. Rendering and the realism of whatever medium is used to tell your story is just as important as the story itself. The way that we convey stories can often break the suspension of disbelief. This is why many of the darker and more realistic narratives around Batman have rung true with audiences over the last 50 years. Leaning into this machismo, unempathetic, intense version of Bruce Wayne makes sense when he's being shown in a live-action, gritty movie. In comics, it makes sense when these same themes are tackled in a more realistic style. Think heavy rendering, not too much cell shading. Mature storylines would not translate as well in a cutesy or cartoony style. But these realistic depictions of Batman have obscured the truth in his character over the years. He's a fucking crazy guy. He dresses like a bat and goes to beat up pimps, save old women, and rescue cats. That's fucking crazy. But it's also kind and heroic, and it's what's so endearing about his character. Batman was originally created in 1939 and has had hundreds of different writers, meaning he's been hundreds of iterations of a man. But at his core, he has always been a detective who has tried to make Gotham City a better place. Year One's iteration of Bruce Wayne and Batman felt very true to his character. At his core, he is kind of a maniac freak. He moves back to Gotham at the age of 25 to brood, make insane gadgets, and fight crime. Gordon serves as a fantastic counterbalance to this reality check that Bruce is going through. Gordon is fighting a deeply corrupt police station, and Batman is fighting both the corrupt government of Gotham and the dangerous underbelly itself. They are both trying to create a better Gotham and help as many people as possible, no matter who stands in their way. Year One manages to balance the best of Bruce Wayne's psychology in one book, showing how he is at once the realistic detective superhero we know and love, as well as the caring, kind-hearted hero that should be admired. Batman should not be admired for his gravelly voice or cool gadgets or dangerous emo aesthetic. He should be admired for protecting sex workers, saving old women, and shooing cats out of danger, protecting the city of Gotham. It's a relief to read my childhood heroes and realize that they have the same morals as me. In fact, they're the reason I have these morals in the first place.